Hello. I received a good number of emails asking me for practical advice about how to drink ayahuasca without a shaman. And I didn't want to make this video, although apparently such type of information is in great demand, because I don't want, with the very title of the video, I mean, drinking ayahuasca alone, to any way imply that I endorse or approve such an activity. Because I don't approve, I don't recommend it in any way. However, I still decided to make the video because, people do it anyway. Although they have heard that ayahuasca should be taken only with a qualified shaman, due to the rebellious attitude of the young people nowadays, and also due to the lack of qualified shamans matching the growing interest, the avalanche-like growing interest in ayahuasca. I understand that it can be actually difficult to find such a shaman, while the ingredients for cooking the brew are quite readily available, especially in Western Europe. So I decided to make this video and recommend the way of taking ayahuasca alone, but still I don't think that this is safe. The only thing that I can promise you that the way I recommend you will be much safer than simply buying the ingredients, following the recipe attached and drinking the thing without knowing anything. Why is it not safe to drink ayahuasca by oneself? I mean, it's like child driving a car, and even more dangerous. It's not that cars are bad or dangerous by themselves. When you use them as they were intended to be used, they're just fine. However, if a child sees his father driving and decides, oh, it seems pretty easy, I could do that, and goes and starts the car and starts, driving around, pretty unpredictable things can happen. Or maybe another example, imagine you're on a cruise liner out in the open sea or out in the open ocean, and the ocean looks a pretty beautiful place. Some fish are jumping out occasionally. And you have seen that people actually can swim in water, although imagine that you cannot swim indeed. But because you have seen that others seem to swim without any difficulty and float on water, you decide to jump off the ship and have a look at the wonderful wildlife under the water. I mean, this can end up in disaster. Please understand that the fact that others drink ayahuasca and seem to be fine after that does not mean that anybody can do it. I mean, it requires education. Okay, so the scary part of the video is over. Now I start with the practical advices. If you have decided to drink ayahuasca alone, and I haven't yet managed to persuade you that this is a not good thing to do, then please follow the steps that I describe very carefully. If you deviate even a little bit from the recipe I give, I really guarantee that this recipe will not work. Okay, step number 1. Listen to all of the videos in this Ayahuasca Basics playlist and listen to them carefully and get sure you understand everything very well. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comments of every video. And after this, hopefully you will get at least a general idea what ayahuasca is after all. Second step, get your ingredients. It should be ayahuasca, decapivine, and chacruna, or ayahuasca and mimosa hostilis. These are the two combinations that I would recommend for beginners. And cook them following the recipe you have. Usually it will be attached with the herbs when you purchase them. And please pay a very good attention that your brew never boils, how to say, with a lot of force. I mean, a bit of simmering is okay, but really boiling, that is not really recommended. Some people say it may kill the DMT inside, and the brew will be much less potent than you may expect at the end. So cook your brew very slowly and carefully. And third, get ready for the drinking. Now, so far so good. However, as all good things, the method that I will describe to you will actually take you a few months to reach to the stage where you can have really astral visions. I mean, this will be valid for, let's say, at least 90% of the people who follow the recipe. Some people are already quite open to the astral world. I mean, they have managed to dissolve this curtain between the dimensions with other spiritual practices before. But in general, be patient. The way I'm gonna advise you to do it is gradual, because since you do not have a shaman, I will advise you how gradually, step by step, acquire some really basic shaman-like skills that will enable you to take care of yourself in the other dimensions. Okay, so you have cooked already your brew made of ayahuasca and chacruna. This is very good. Set it aside and leave it to actually ferment for a month or two while you do something else and drink something else. The good thing about letting it stay and ferment and basically turn into wine, that should be done somewhere in a cool place, is that it will increase its potency with, let's say, at least 30%. So you will have to drink less quantity to get the same results when you're ready. And now prepare another brew which is cooked only of the capi vine, only of the ayahuasca vine. This type of ayahuasca also is used by the indigenous shamans in South America, but much more rarely than the standard ayahuasca, which is made of ayahuasca and chacruna. And it kind of does have the effect to pull you to some extent to the other side, but visions are extremely unlikely. However, it will give you like a testing field for the type of skills that I'm trying to make you develop with this video. Okay, to cook one dose of this single herb brew, you will need about 100 to 150 grams of dry ayahuasca vine, because usually the dosage of this single herb brew is about 50% additional than what you would drink as an amount of the ordinary standard ayahuasca brew. So you need to drink a bit more as a quantity of this single herb brew. And as I described in detail in the video about brewing ayahuasca, dosage is something very personal, so you will have to do few ceremonies by yourself and find out what is the optimal dosage for you, that it will take you somewhere. I mean, you must definitely feel another state of consciousness. And then I would recommend you to do at least 10 such ceremonies after you manage to determine what is your dose. It may take you some number of ceremonies before you determine your dose. I mean, you can drink a bit, then after an hour or two, if you still don't feel the effects, then you can drink, let's say, 20% more. And then after an hour again, don't drink more than 2 or 3 times while testing what is your dosage. And after you discover, okay, I need to take, let's say, 30 or 40 milliliters of this. Then on the next ceremony, you know what is your dosage and you do it yourself. By ceremony, I mean something really basic. Just request the spirits of all directions to guide you and make it clear that only energies of the highest benefit have entered in this space of your ceremony. Be quite determined about this. And when the ceremony is over, in your own words or by singing or in your mind, thank the spirits for their guidance and help. And this is about the beginning and end of ceremony. And the ceremony itself is actually kind of meditation. What I will describe resembles the ancient yoga or Buddhist practices. The most important is that you sit in a comfortable position. If you can do Padmasana, the yoga posture, that is the best. But since it will last at least 2 hours, you may get tired. Sometimes you may lay down. It's important that you're not in some uncomfortable position, or you don't have a comfortable seat or place to lay down. Get sure your surroundings are comfortable and it's dark. I mean, if you drink daytime, put the curtains or something like that. Close your eyes, concentrate in the area of the third eye, and just be observer of everything that happens around. Don't identify yourself with anything you feel or even think. This will take some time. I mean, for a beginner it will be very hard to actually be observer of one's own thoughts, but because we as Western people are totally trained to totally identify with our thoughts. I mean, to differentiate oneself from one's thoughts will be quite a task for a beginner. And but I mean, this is how meditation works. And ayahuasca is a meditation. It is a spiritual practice. It's also good to try to concentrate on something as much as you can. I mean, this will be difficult for the beginners. For them it will be usually a few seconds, and then the mind will get distracted by something even if you don't want it. But the thing is, you have to keep returning it. A few seconds in the beginning, then after a few sessions you will find out that you can keep your mind a few minutes on a desired object, or and as you advance and you become a really advanced yogi, which you can, don't think you can't, then you will be actually able to concentrate and control your mind even for hours. Concentrate on what? Actually, this is much of your choice. Some people prefer ideas or mental images of different deities or different gods. If you're not inclined to that, I would recommend you actually to concentrate on your breath. This subtle movement of vital energy that always goes on, you know. It's a very nice thing to concentrate on. It's used in numerous yoga techniques for meditation. And also by meditating on this breath, or also called prana in the yoga practice, you will gradually start getting insights and start building some understanding about this idea, which seems to be very elusive for many people, about the source, the great source with capital S, or the beginning of all, or also called all that is, the all-pervading cosmic energy that contains all information and is endless source of power. It's called with many names, but I mean, it doesn't matter much how you call it. The important thing is how much you're connected with it, how much you can actually draw from it. And this meditation on this vital energy, I mean, for let's say 2 hours or 3, while you feel 3 is more realistic, while you feel the effects of ayahuasca. I mean, this is precious. And this, when properly done, will really have amazing benefits. And if you can do this even without drinking ayahuasca, but with ayahuasca the effect will be multiplied. So back to our schedule, I advise you, after finding out your correct dosage with such brew, without chacruna, brew that does not have DMT and most likely will not give you any visions but just the feeling of being in another state. It may take you, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 ceremonies to find out your dose by gradually increasing. After finding your dose, please have at least 10 ceremonies like this by yourself or with the other people who also are interested in this, and conduct the ceremonies in silence, complete silence. People, I mean, having talks during ceremonies is really not a good thing, not a good idea. So do at least 10 such ceremonies, and you must feel some effect. I mean, it may take maybe um, a week or two after you end these 10 ceremonies to kind of do the introspection required for absorbing this effect. I mean, applying it in your life, because ayahuasca is not just about drinking, it's about changing your life when you're not drinking. So 10 ceremonies should have some effect. It will be strong for some, milder for others. I mean, it all depends. But it will give you some basis to at least start having some understanding what type of control you will need for an ayahuasca ceremony with DMT. Okay, so this first stage with the 10 ceremonies without DMT may take you, I mean, you can do it at your own pace. It may take you a month or 2 or 3. It doesn't matter. And after you feel that you have some understanding about being on the other side of the veil of dimensions, there should be some understanding. You can write me a letter or write in the comments of this video if you have any questions, but there should be something after 10 such ceremonies. Now you're ready to use the brew that you cooked before and left it to ferment, which is with DMT. Okay, so first start with dosage that is cooked of only 10 grams of capi or ayahuasca. You don't have to cook it separately. I mean, you can just calculate if you have a bottle that you have prepared of, let's say, a half kilo of capi, then divide it in 50 equal parts and you will get your first dosage, which will be very little, and for most people, for 99% of the people, will not result in any visions. But you don't want to jump to the stage of the wild visions, because most likely you still do not have the skills required to drive safely in those realms. Moreover, some people, they may really pop out very easily on the other side, even with such a small amount. That's why I advise you to start with such a small amount, and try this during your first ceremony. And if you don't feel any effect, then take like 30% more of this same amount after 1.5 hours. And that's all, no more in your first ceremony with DMT. If you feel absolutely nothing, then on your second ceremony you take the two dosages combined, and just few drops more, let's say 10% more, and if nothing happens, then after 1 hour you take 20% more of what you drank initially. So in other words, increase the amount very slowly, and never take more than 2 times on one ceremony, even if you don't feel the effect, because sometimes the effects this is very rare, but it has happened to people I know. The effects may come after 5 or 6 hours and can be very strong. You may not be able to manage the situation. So don't be in a hurry, increase the dosage very slowly, and don't aim at visions. In the beginning, your first ceremonies will be only about establishing your dose, and the dose will be uh, the right dose for that feeling that you're definitely on in the other dimension, or at least you're, maybe in the beginning it will be like popping in and popping out. Maybe this is the right stage for a beginning. And after you find out the dosage for this, do at least 5 ceremonies with such a low dose. Don't be impatient about visions, because again, you may regret it. You may end up in a situation where it's just too scary, too unmanageable, too dangerous. Anything may happen. It's not that ayahuasca is harmful herself. It will not harm your body, your health, but it's like some person who is totally not familiar with city life ends up in the most dangerous suburb of Chicago or whatever, the town with the most dangerous suburbs where gangs rule and all that. And this person is there alone in the middle of night wearing strange clothes, and this is like begging for trouble, as my grandmother used to say, looking for a trouble with a torch. So don't be in a hurry, don't end up in such stupid situations, do it gradually. So after you find some dosage which takes you like kind of on the gate of somewhere, do at least 5, 6, 7 ceremonies with such a very low dose. After that, add only 20% of this dose, increase it only with 20%, and do 5, 6 or 7 ceremonies with this same dose again. Even if some ceremonies are not so fantastic, not so strong, it will depend on the timing, on the environment, on the subtle energies around. Don't be impatient. This full process will take months. It will take many ceremonies. Probably by the time you can actually have really a full-scale ayahuasca ceremonies with lots of visions, you will have, let's say, about 40 ceremonies behind your back with very low doses. But you will have something else very valuable in your the treasures of your life. You will have some basic shamanic skills to be able to navigate in the other realm. And what are the tools? Maybe you're looking for some hints. Well, the 2 basic hints are always to be the observer. Don't identify with anything. Maybe a monster will come out, running at you, wanting to bite you, or some people will come to harm you. You may feel or see those things. Anything may happen. What to do in any of this situation is use the power of love. The love is the most beautiful and most powerful thing in the universe. Nothing can win love. Even if something approaches you with weapons, on an astral plane, just imagine this light of love and don't try to fight back. Just dissolve the evil with the power of love. And don't be afraid of anything. Do not identify with it. Understand that everything around us is projection of our own consciousness. This is the most important point. If you have heard the other lectures of this Ayahuasca Basics playlist, I have repeated endless number of times that we shape our life with our ideas, with our thoughts, and our belief system. This is the most important. The so-called unchangeable events in our three-dimensional lives and everything that will happen during a ceremony is just the external shape that these beliefs take. So never think that other entity can be stronger than you, that can overtake you, that can harm you, that can do anything dangerous to you, or otherwise you're giving them your power. Be aware that you and every other entity is connected to this primeval source of energy. And if you believe that you have access to this energy by the power of love, you will have it. If you believe that you're weak and things can harm you and drag you somewhere without your consent, then you're giving them the authorization to do that. But these miracle-like powers will not come in a second just because I'm telling you. It's not that only because you fantasy some unreal things they will come true in a moment. It requires hard work. That's why I propose you this gradual increase of dosage, so that you get some practical grasp of these ideas. How do they work on the ground? I mean, this ground or the astral ground. And at the point where you reach an actual ayahuasca ceremony, you will know how to manage the situation yourself. So to make it clear again how you increase the doses for ayahuasca with chacruna is initially you establish some dose that you feel something little, and you conduct at least 7 ceremonies with that dose without increasing it. After that, you add 15 or 20% more to this dosage and do 7 more ceremonies with this dosage. Even if you feel that you're doing quite fine and there is nothing dangerous out there, nothing scary, don't ever increase the dose faster. And after these 7 ceremonies, increase it with 15 or 20% more and do 7 more ceremonies like this. I mean, for some people this may take even a year. Some people need a larger dose. It may really take them, I mean, quite a good number of dozens of ceremonies to reach somewhere. But at least what I guarantee you, that it will be somewhat safer. I'm not saying safe, completely safe. I'm not saying that it's not, but it will be much safer than, as I said in the beginning, just buying ingredients, cooking the brew, and putting in your throat without knowing anything. And when you do your ceremonies, please follow the format I described earlier. Do them as meditation with closed eyes in the dark, concentrating on your breath or your favorite protection deity. Always remember that the power of love is your guardian, and most importantly, remember that I don't recommend drinking ayahuasca alone. These advices are only for the people who cannot be dissuaded from doing it by any means. Thank you for listening, and hope you have learned something. And also I hope that if you decide to follow this recipe, you will not jump over any parts of this process, and you will do the required number of ceremonies at each stage exactly as described. Thank you.
Yojiva.